There are some betrayals so twisted, so unthinkable, that when you finally understand what's happening, you realize your entire reality has been a lie. Her name was Vanessa, 42 years old, married to Derek for 15 years, mother to 12-year-old Emma, living what looked like the perfect suburban life, and she had an identical twin sister named Victoria. Most people couldn't tell them apart. Same height, same build, same face, same voice. Growing up, they'd played the classic twin tricks. Switching classes at school, confusing their parents, pretending to be each other at parties. It had been fun, innocent, harmless, until it wasn't. Vanessa and Victoria had always been close. Or at least, Vanessa thought they were. They talked on the phone regularly, had lunch once a month, celebrated birthdays and holidays together. Victoria was Emma's favorite aunt. But something had been shifting over the years. Something Vanessa couldn't quite put her finger on. Victoria had never married, never had children. She'd had relationships that never lasted, jobs she'd quit or been fired from, financial struggles she'd call Vanessa about, asking to borrow money. Vanessa always helped. That's what sisters did. That's what family meant. What Vanessa didn't know was that every time Victoria came to her beautiful 4-bedroom house in the suburbs, every time she saw Derek kiss Vanessa goodbye before work, every time she watched Emma run to her mother with a school project, Victoria felt something dark growing inside her. Envy, resentment, and eventually, something worse. The thought that grew into a plan: why should Vanessa have everything? We're identical. We're the same person, essentially. What if I just became her? The strange occurrences started about 6 months ago. Small things at first. Things Vanessa dismissed as simple mistakes. One evening, Derek came home from work and said, "So, did you make that doctor's appointment we talked about this morning?" Vanessa looked up from helping Emma with homework. "What doctor's appointment?" "For your annual checkup. You said you'd been putting it off and you'd call today." Derek set down his briefcase, looking confused. "We talked about it at breakfast. You don't remember?" Vanessa searched her memory. She remembered breakfast. Toast and coffee. Derek scrolling through his phone. Emma complaining about a math test. But no conversation about doctor's appointments. "I don't think we talked about that, honey." Derek frowned. "Vanessa, we had a whole conversation. You said you'd been feeling run down. That you needed to get your iron levels checked." "I never said that." "You did. This morning. At breakfast." Derek's tone had an edge of concern now. "Are you feeling okay?" "I'm fine. I don't remember that conversation." Derek studied her for a moment, then smiled and kissed her forehead. "Maybe you've got too much on your mind. PTA stuff, Emma's school, the house. Don't worry about it. But seriously, make that appointment, okay?" Vanessa nodded, but a small seed of doubt had been planted. Had she forgotten? Was she that stressed? A week later, Emma came downstairs for breakfast and said something that made Vanessa's stomach turn. "Mom, why were you acting so weird yesterday after school?" Vanessa was pouring orange juice. "Weird how, sweetheart?" "I don't know. You just seemed different. You kept asking me questions about my friends that you already know the answers to. Like what grade Sophia is in. You know she's in my class." Vanessa set down the juice carefully. "Emma, I picked you up from school, we came home, you did your homework. I didn't ask about Sophia." Emma's face scrunched up in confusion. "Yes, you did. In the car. You asked me all these questions. And you were playing different music. That weird pop station you never listened to." "Emma, I didn't." Vanessa stopped. Looked at her daughter's certain face. "What time did I pick you up?" 3:15. Like always. Vanessa had picked Emma up at 3:15. She remembered it clearly. They'd listened to Emma's favorite playlist. Talked about Emma's science project. There had been no questions about Sophia. "Maybe you were just distracted, sweetie. Sometimes when we're thinking about other things, we don't remember conversations clearly." But Emma looked unconvinced. And honestly, so was Vanessa. Before we go any further into this, I just want to say, if you feel a connection to these stories, a small click on that like button and subscribe would mean more to me than you know. It lets me know I'm not just speaking into the void, that you're really here with me. Alright, let's continue. The incidents kept happening. Accelerating. Vanessa's best friend Carolyn called one afternoon. "Hey, I've been thinking about what you said yesterday. About maybe taking that trip to the wine country. I think we should do it. Girls' weekend." "What do you think?" "What trip?" Vanessa asked, genuinely confused. The one you suggested when you called me yesterday? You said you needed a break, wanted to get away for a weekend. We talked for like 20 minutes about different vineyards. Carolyn, I didn't call you yesterday. I was at my dentist appointment all afternoon. There was a pause. Vanessa, yes you did. I have the call in my history. 3:47 p.m. We talked about your stress levels, about Derek working too much, about needing time away. Are you okay? Vanessa felt ice spreading through her chest. Can you describe exactly what we talked about? Carolyn listed details. Specific things about Derek's work schedule. About Emma's upcoming school play. About Vanessa feeling overwhelmed with household responsibilities. All things that were true. But Vanessa had not made that call. I have to go, Vanessa said abruptly. I'll call you back. She hung up and immediately checked her phone. Her call history showed no outgoing call to Carolyn at 3:47 p.m. yesterday. But Carolyn's phone would show a call from Vanessa's number. Vanessa was certain of that. How was that possible? That evening, Vanessa noticed something else. A coffee mug in the sink that wasn't hers. Same style, same color. But Vanessa knew her mugs. This one had a tiny chip on the handle that her mugs didn't have. She found a long dark hair on the bathroom counter. Same color as hers. Same length. But when she looked closely, the ends were cut differently. Vanessa's hair was layered. This hair was blunt cut. In her closet, her blue sweater was on the wrong hanger. Vanessa had a system. This sweater always went on the left side. Now it was on the right. Small things. Tiny details. Things anyone else would dismiss as meaningless. But Vanessa noticed. Because something was very, very wrong. She started keeping a journal. Writing down every strange occurrence. Every conversation people claimed to have had with her that she didn't remember. Every object that was slightly out of place. Within 2 weeks, she had a list of 15 incidents. Derek was getting concerned. Honey, maybe you should see someone. These memory gaps, they're not normal. What if it's early-onset Alzheimer's? Or some kind of dissociative disorder? I'm not losing my memory, Vanessa insisted. Something else is happening. Like what? Vanessa didn't have an answer. Because the truth was too impossible. Too insane. But then Victoria came over for Sunday dinner. Vanessa's twin sister arrived at 5:30, carrying a bottle of wine and a bakery box with Emma's favorite cookies. She hugged Vanessa tight. You look tired, Ness. Everything okay? Just stressed, Vanessa said, studying her sister's face. Her own face, reflected back at her. During dinner, Victoria was charming. Funny. She made Emma laugh with stories about their mother's terrible cooking when they were kids. She asked Derek about his work, complimented Vanessa's pot roast. Everything seemed normal. Except. Vanessa noticed Victoria knew which cabinet the wine glasses were in without asking. She knew Emma's math teacher's name without Emma mentioning it first. She knew Derek's boss had just returned from vacation in Aruba. Small things. But how did Victoria know these details? Derek mentioned his boss's trip, Victoria said when Vanessa questioned it. At Emma's birthday party last month, remember? Had she? Vanessa couldn't remember. There had been 30 people at that party. Lots of conversations. After Victoria left, Vanessa stood in her kitchen, feeling like she was losing her mind. That's when she noticed it. Victoria's perfume. Lingering in the air. Vanessa knew that scent. Victoria had worn it for years. But Vanessa had smelled it before. Recently. In her house. When Victoria wasn't there. She went to her bedroom. Opened her closet. And caught the faintest hint of that perfume on her clothes. Vanessa's heart started pounding. She went to her bathroom. Looked in the trash can. Found a tissue with lipstick. A shade Vanessa didn't own. She went to Emma's room. Sweetheart, has Aunt Victoria been here? When I wasn't home? Emma looked up from her book. What do you mean? Has she come over when it was just you and Daddy? Maybe to babysit or help out? No, Mom. Why? No reason. Just wondering. But Vanessa was remembering something. That day Emma said she'd acted weird after school. Emma had said Vanessa was playing different music. Pop music Victoria loved but Vanessa hated. Vanessa pulled out her phone. Opened the location sharing app she and Derek used. Checked her location history for that day. According to her phone, she'd been at the school at 3:15. Picked up Emma. Driven straight home. Exactly as she remembered. But Emma remembered something different. Someone different. Vanessa felt like the floor was tilting beneath her. She went back to her bedroom. Sat on the edge of the bed. Tried to think rationally. There was only one explanation. Only one possibility that made all the pieces fit. But it was impossible. Insane. The kind of thing that only happened in psychological thrillers. Her identical twin sister was impersonating her, coming to her house, picking up her daughter, talking to her friends, living pieces of her life. But why? And how? And most terrifying of all, did Derek know? That night, Vanessa pretended to be asleep when Derek came to bed. She lay there in the darkness, listening to him breathe, wondering if the man beside her was betraying her in ways she couldn't even imagine. The next morning, Vanessa made a decision. She needed proof. Real, undeniable proof that she wasn't losing her mind. She went online and ordered hidden cameras. Small ones. The kind you'd never notice. She ordered them with rush shipping and had them sent to her office so Derek wouldn't see. 3 days later, Vanessa installed 5 cameras throughout her house. 1 in the living room, 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the hallway, 1 in Emma's room, and 1 in her bedroom. She connected them all to an app on her phone. They were motion activated and would record continuously when she wasn't home. Vanessa felt guilty doing it, like she was violating her own family's privacy. But she needed to know. She needed to understand what was happening. For 2 days, nothing unusual showed up on the cameras. Just Derek coming home from work, Emma doing homework, normal family life. Then, on the 3rd day, Vanessa had a late meeting at work. She wouldn't be home until 6:30. At 3:20 p.m., her phone buzzed with a motion alert from the kitchen camera. Vanessa opened the app, and her blood turned to ice. A woman was in her kitchen, pulling ingredients out of her refrigerator, preparing a snack. The woman looked exactly like Vanessa. Same hair, same build, same face. But it wasn't Vanessa. Because Vanessa was sitting in her office, 10 miles away, watching this happen in real time. It was Victoria. In Vanessa's house. Moving around like she belonged there. Opening cabinets she shouldn't know the contents of. Using Vanessa's favorite cutting board. Vanessa watched, frozen, as the front door opened. Emma came in, dropping her backpack. "Hey, Mom. Can I have a snack?" Victoria turned and smiled. "Of course, sweetie. I'm making your favorite. Apple slices with peanut butter. Emma's favorite." Victoria knew that. Vanessa watched her daughter sit at the kitchen counter, talking to Victoria about her day at school. Completely unaware that the woman she was talking to wasn't her mother. Because why would she be aware? They were identical. Vanessa's hands were shaking so hard she nearly dropped her phone. She kept watching. Watched Victoria help Emma with homework. Watched them laugh together. Watched Victoria act like she'd done this 100 times before. At 5:15, the front door opened again. Derek came home early. And here's what made Vanessa's heart stop completely. Derek walked into the kitchen, saw Victoria, and said, "Hey, babe." He kissed her. On the lips. Like he did with Vanessa every day. And Victoria kissed him back. Emma was right there. Didn't react at all. Because to Emma, this was just her parents being affectionate. Derek didn't pull away in shock. Didn't say, "Wait, Victoria, what are you doing here?" He just kissed her. Naturally. Comfortably. Like this was normal. Which meant one thing. Derek knew. Derek knew Victoria was impersonating Vanessa. And he was okay with it. More than okay. He was participating in it. Vanessa sat in her office, watching her husband kiss her twin sister while her daughter did homework 10 feet away, and realized something terrifying. This wasn't new. This hadn't just started. This had been going on for a while. Long enough that Derek and Victoria were comfortable with it. Long enough that they developed a routine. Long enough that Vanessa's own daughter couldn't tell the difference between her mother and her aunt. Vanessa watched until Victoria left at 6 o'clock. Watched Derek and Emma eat the dinner Victoria had prepared. Watched her daughter go upstairs to her room. Then Vanessa closed the app. Sat in her car in the parking lot. And tried not to scream. Her twin sister was stealing her life, piece by piece. Visit by visit. And her husband was helping her do it. The question was, why? What was the end game? What were they planning? Vanessa drove home at 6:30, exactly when she'd said she'd be there. Derek and Emma were in the living room, watching TV. "Hey, honey," Derek said, kissing her cheek. "How was your day?" "Fine," Vanessa said, her voice surprisingly steady. "Long meeting. I'm exhausted. Emma and I already ate. There's leftovers in the fridge if you're hungry." Leftovers that Victoria had made. In Vanessa's kitchen. Using Vanessa's ingredients. "Thanks," Vanessa said. "I think I'll just go to bed early. I have a headache." She went upstairs. locked herself in the bathroom, and finally let herself feel the full weight of what she'd discovered. Her identical twin sister was impersonating her. Her husband knew and was kissing Victoria. Her daughter couldn't tell the difference. This wasn't just an affair. This was something much worse. This was identity theft. Literal identity theft. Victoria wasn't just sleeping with Derek. She was trying to become Vanessa. To replace her. To take over her entire life. And somehow, impossibly, Derek was letting her. Vanessa looked at herself in the mirror. At the face she'd shared with her twin since birth. The face that had always connected them. Made them special. Made them unique. That face was now being used as a weapon against her. Vanessa had a choice. Confront them immediately. Or figure out exactly what they were planning before making her move. She thought about Emma. About her daughter who couldn't tell when her mother had been replaced by an imposter. About how confused and traumatized Emma would be when this all came out. Vanessa needed to understand the full scope of what was happening. Needed proof that would protect Emma and prove to everyone that she wasn't crazy. Because if she went to people now and said, "My twin sister is impersonating me and my husband is helping her," they'd think she was paranoid. Delusional. They'd probably suggest therapy. Medication. Maybe even hospitalization. Which might be exactly what Victoria and Derek wanted. Vanessa made her decision. She would watch. Document. Gather evidence. Figure out the complete plan. And then she would destroy them both. Over the next 2 weeks, Vanessa lived in a nightmare disguised as normal life. Every morning, she woke up next to Derek, made breakfast, drove Emma to school, went to work, came home, played the perfect wife and mother. All while knowing that on the days she worked late, or had meetings, or was out of the house, Victoria was there. Living her life. Being her. The cameras captured everything. Victoria had a key. Vanessa watched her use it, letting herself in like she owned the place. She came over at least 3 times a week, always when Vanessa was supposed to be gone. Sometimes Derek was home. Sometimes he wasn't. But when he was there, he treated Victoria exactly like he treated Vanessa. Casual affection. Comfortable intimacy. Like it was completely normal to have his wife's identical twin filling in. Vanessa watched one video that made her physically sick. Victoria was in Vanessa's bedroom. Going through her closet. Trying on her clothes. Standing in front of the mirror, practicing Vanessa's expressions. The way she smiled. The way she tilted her head when she was thinking. It was like watching someone rehearse how to be you. Then Derek came home early. Walked into the bedroom. Saw Victoria in Vanessa's clothes. And he didn't react with shock or confusion. He just smiled. Walked over. Kissed her. "You look good in that dress," he said. Victoria laughed. "I should. It's basically mine already." Already. Like it was a done deal. Like Vanessa's clothes, Vanessa's life, Vanessa's identity were just waiting to be transferred. Derek pulled Victoria closer. "How much longer do we have to wait?" "Not much longer. She's already doubting herself. Another month, maybe 2, and everyone will believe she's losing it. Then we can make the move." "And Emma?" "Emma already can't tell the difference half the time. By the time we're done, she won't even miss her real mother. She'll have me. And I'll be better at it anyway." Vanessa paused the video. Sat there shaking with rage and horror. They were planning to replace her. Completely. Not just have an affair. Not just steal her husband. They were planning to erase her from her own life and put Victoria in her place. And they were using her confusion, her memory problems, as the foundation. Making everyone think Vanessa was mentally unstable so that when they made their move, no one would believe her. Vanessa forced herself to keep watching. To see all of it. "What about the legal stuff?" Victoria asked. "The identity documents?" "I've been working on it. Slowly changing things. Bank accounts. Insurance policies. I've set up the framework to transfer everything from her name to yours. Same social security number, same birth certificate details. Since you're identical twins, as long as we have the right paperwork, it's surprisingly easy." "And if she fights it?" Derek's expression went cold. "She won't be able to. Not from a psychiatric facility." Psychiatric facility. That was their plan. They were going to have Vanessa committed. Locked away. While Victoria took over her entire existence. Vanessa stopped the video. She couldn't watch anymore. She went to the bathroom and threw up. When she came out, Derek was in the bedroom. "You okay, honey? I heard you in there." Vanessa looked at this man she'd been married to for 15 years. The father of her child. The person she'd trusted more than anyone. And saw a complete stranger. Just something I ate, Vanessa managed. I'm fine. You sure? You've seemed off lately. Stressed. Maybe you should see someone. A therapist or something. There it was. The groundwork. Planting the idea that Vanessa needed psychiatric help. Maybe, Vanessa said. I'll think about it. Derek smiled and kissed her forehead. I just want you to be okay. You know that, right? I love you. Lies. Every word was lies. I know, Vanessa said. I love you too. The next day, Vanessa did something she'd been avoiding. She went through Derek's phone while he was in the shower. She knew his passcode. He'd never hidden it from her. Why would he? They were married. They trusted each other. Except Derek had been using a second messaging app. One Vanessa had never heard of. Encrypted. Hidden in a folder of work apps. She opened it. Found hundreds of messages between Derek and Victoria. Messages going back 2 years. 2 years. This had been happening for 2 years. Vanessa scrolled through the conversation, her hands shaking. Derek *, she has no idea. Came home today talking about her dentist appointment like everything was normal. Victoria *, good. The more we do this, the more confused she gets. It's working perfectly. Derek *, I feel bad sometimes. She's a good person. A good mother. Victoria *, she's boring. Predictable. You settled, Derek. But you don't have to anymore. You can have me. Same face, better everything else. Derek *, you're right. I know you're right. It's just, 15 years. Victoria *, 15 years of mediocrity. I'm offering you excitement. Passion. The life you actually want. Plus, Emma will be fine. Kids are resilient. She'll adjust. Derek *, when do we make the final move? Victoria *, soon. I've been researching psychiatric commitments. If we can establish a pattern of her instability, get her doctors to document concerns, we can have her evaluated. Once she's in a facility, even temporarily, I can step in officially. Say I'm helping. Taking care of Emma. Supporting you. And then, I just never leave. Derek *, what about legally? Someone will notice you're not actually Vanessa. Victoria *, that's the beauty of being identical twins. We have the same DNA. Similar fingerprints. I've been studying her signature for months. I can forge it perfectly. And you're changing all the legal documents anyway. By the time anyone questions anything, I'll have been living as Vanessa for so long that I basically am her. Vanessa read that last line 3 times. I'll have been living as Vanessa for so long that I basically am her. Victoria wasn't just trying to steal Vanessa's life. She was trying to become Vanessa. To erase the original and replace her entirely. Vanessa heard the shower turn off. She quickly closed the app, put the phone back exactly where Derek had left it, and went downstairs. She made coffee with shaking hands. Tried to breathe normally. Tried to think. She needed help. Professional help. But who could she go to? If she went to friends or family and said, "My twin sister is impersonating me," they'd think she was paranoid. Especially after Derek had been telling everyone she was stressed and having memory issues. She couldn't go to the police without evidence. And while she had the camera footage, how could she prove Victoria's intent? That she was planning identity theft and not just visiting? Helping out? Vanessa needed more. She needed proof of the legal document manipulation, proof of their plan to commit her, proof that this was a conspiracy, not just an affair. She called her doctor's office and made an appointment. Not for the reasons Derek wanted, but because she needed official medical documentation that she was mentally sound. That there was nothing wrong with her memory or cognition. Dr. Patterson saw her that afternoon. Ran tests. Cognitive assessments. Memory evaluations. Vanessa, everything looks completely normal, Dr. Patterson said, reviewing the results. Your memory is fine. Your cognitive function is excellent. Whatever stress you're experiencing, it's not affecting your mental capacity. Can you document that? Officially? Dr. Patterson looked at her curiously. Of course. Is there a reason you need official documentation? Vanessa hesitated, then decided to take a risk. Someone might try to claim I'm mentally unstable. I need proof that I'm not. Dr. Patterson's expression grew serious. Vanessa, is someone threatening you? Your husband? Family member? I can't explain yet. But I might need your testimony soon. About my mental state. Will you help me? Absolutely. And if you're in danger, we should. I'm gathering evidence first. But thank you. Just, please keep detailed notes of this visit. Everything we discussed. The test results. All of it. Dr. Patterson nodded slowly. I will. But Vanessa, please be careful. Whatever's happening, don't put yourself in danger. Vanessa left with official documentation of her cognitive health. It wasn't much, but it was something. That evening, Victoria came over for dinner. Invited by Derek, though Vanessa hadn't known about it until she got home. Hope you don't mind, Derek said. Victoria called and said she was feeling lonely. I thought it would be nice to have her over. Vanessa looked at her twin sister sitting at her dining table, wearing a dress almost identical to one Vanessa owned. Hairstyled the same way Vanessa usually wore hers. Of course not, Vanessa said. Family is always welcome. During dinner, Vanessa watched Victoria carefully. Watched how she interacted with Emma. How comfortable she was in Vanessa's house. How she knew where everything was without asking. Aunt Vicky, can you pass the salt? Emma asked. Victoria reached for the salt shaker without looking. Knew exactly where it was on the table. You seem really at home here, Vanessa said casually. Victoria smiled. Well, I visit often enough. Plus, you and I are the same person, essentially. Makes sense I'd be comfortable in your space. The same person. Essentially. After dinner, Victoria offered to help clean up. She and Vanessa stood side by side at the sink, washing dishes. Identical faces reflected in the window above the sink. You know, Ness, Victoria said quietly, you seem stressed lately. Derek's worried about you. I'm fine. Are you? Because you seem scattered. Forgetful. People are noticing. Vanessa turned to look at her sister. At her own face looking back at her. What people? Friends. Family. Derek. Victoria's voice was soft, concerned. Maybe you should talk to someone. A professional. There's no shame in getting help when you need it. There it was. Victoria, to her face, suggesting she needed psychiatric help. Planting seeds. Building the narrative. I don't need help, Vanessa said firmly. Everyone needs help sometimes. Victoria smiled. I just want you to be okay. You're my sister. My twin. We're connected. I can feel when something's wrong with you. Vanessa wanted to scream. To grab Victoria and demand to know what she was planning. To expose her right there. But she controlled herself. Kept her face neutral. I appreciate your concern. But I'm fine. After Victoria left, Vanessa went to Emma's room. Her daughter was getting ready for bed. Sweetie, can I ask you something? Sure, Mom. When Aunt Victoria visits, does she ever act like me? Like, pretend to be me? Emma looked confused. What do you mean? Like, does she ever pick you up from school and not tell you she's Aunt Victoria? Or does she ever do things that moms do but she's not your mom? Emma's expression grew more confused. Mom, that's a weird question. I know. But it's important. Has Aunt Victoria ever been here when you thought it was me? Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, sometimes you and Aunt Vicky act really different. And sometimes I can't tell who's who right away. But that's normal, right? You're twins. What do you mean, sometimes I act different? Like, sometimes you know things you shouldn't know. Or don't know things you should. Or you talk differently. Emma frowned. It's hard to explain. But Dad says you're just stressed and that's why you seem different sometimes. Vanessa felt her heart breaking. Her own daughter had been noticing the switches. The times when Victoria was pretending to be her. But Derek had explained it away as Vanessa being stressed. Emma, I need you to do something for me. Can you keep a diary? Write down when I seem different. What day it was, what time, what I did that seemed off. Can you do that? Why? Because I think something strange is happening. And I need your help to figure out what. But don't tell Dad or Aunt Victoria about the diary, okay? This is just between us. Emma nodded slowly. Okay, Mom. Are you okay? Vanessa hugged her daughter tight. I will be, baby. I promise. I'm going to make sure everything is okay. That night, Vanessa couldn't sleep. She lay next to Derek, her mind racing. She needed to move faster. Gather more evidence. Because Victoria and Derek's plan was already in motion. The groundwork was already laid. People already thought she was unstable. How long before they made their final move? How long before Victoria became her permanently? Vanessa got up quietly. Went to Derek's office. Started going through his files. And found what she was looking for. A folder labeled estate planning. Inside were documents. Legal papers. Insurance policies. Bank account information. All of it being systematically changed. Vanessa's name being replaced with Victoria's on beneficiary forms. Account access being transferred. Even the deed to their house was in the process of being modified. Derek had been doing this for months. Slowly, carefully, preparing to transfer Vanessa's entire legal identity to Victoria. At the bottom of the folder, Vanessa found something that made her blood run cold. A draft commitment order. For psychiatric evaluation and potential involuntary hospitalization. Already partially filled out. Just waiting for the right moment to be filed. And a list. A list of people Derek planned to contact. Vanessa's friends, family, co-workers. People he'd asked to give statements about Vanessa's declining mental state and erratic behavior. They were building a case. A legal case to have her committed. To take away her rights. To lock her away while Victoria took over her life. Vanessa photographed everything. Every document. Every piece of evidence. Uploaded it all to a secure cloud storage that only she could access. Then she put everything back exactly as she'd found it. She had the evidence now. She had proof of what they were planning. But she still didn't know when they'd make their move. When they'd actually try to have her committed. She needed to stay ahead of them. Needed to set her own trap. The next morning, Vanessa made a call. To a lawyer. One Derek didn't know. One Victoria had never met. I need help, Vanessa said. My husband and my twin sister are trying to steal my identity. And I need to stop them before they succeed. The lawyer's name was Sandra Mitchell. 53 years old. Sharp eyes. No-nonsense demeanor. She specialized in family law, identity theft, and fraud cases. Vanessa sat in Sandra's office, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she hadn't touched, and told her everything. The impersonation. The cameras. The messages. The legal document manipulation. The plan to have her committed. Sandra listened without interrupting, taking notes, her expression growing more serious with each detail. When Vanessa finished, Sandra set down her pen. This is one of the most elaborate identity theft schemes I've ever seen. And the fact that it's your identical twin makes it particularly insidious. Can we stop them? Yes. But we need to be strategic. If we move too soon, they'll claim you're paranoid. Delusional. Which plays right into their narrative about your mental instability. We need ironclad evidence. Not just of the affair or the impersonation, but of their intent to commit fraud and false imprisonment. I have video of Victoria in my house. Messages between her and Derek. Documents showing the identity transfer. That's good. But we need more. We need proof of the psychiatric commitment plan. We need to catch them in the act of forging your signature or filing false medical reports. We need evidence that stands up in criminal court, not just divorce court. Vanessa felt her hope deflating. So what do I do? You play along. For now. Let them think their plan is working. Meanwhile, we'll work with investigators to document everything. And we'll get DNA evidence. DNA evidence? But Victoria and I are identical twins. We have the same DNA. Sandra smiled slightly. Not quite. Identical twins share the same genetic DNA, but there are subtle epigenetic differences that advanced testing can detect. Differences in how your DNA has expressed itself over your lifetimes. Different environmental factors, different experiences, all leave markers. We can prove that hair samples or other evidence found in your home belongs to two different people, even if those people are identical twins. Vanessa felt a spark of hope. Really? Really? It's expensive and requires a specialized lab. But yes. We can prove Victoria has been in your home, in your bedroom, using your things. We can establish a pattern of impersonation. How long will this take? Sandra was quiet for a moment. A few weeks. Maybe a month. I know that feels like forever when you're living this nightmare. But if we move too fast, we risk them destroying evidence or changing their story. We need them to feel confident, comfortable. That's when people make mistakes. Vanessa nodded. Okay. What do I need to do? Keep documenting everything. Don't confront them. Don't change your behavior. And most importantly, start collecting physical evidence. Hair samples. Fingerprints on surfaces Victoria touches. Anything that proves she's been there. Over the next 3 weeks, Vanessa lived a double life. On the surface, she was the increasingly confused wife, the stressed mother, the woman who was maybe, possibly, losing touch with reality. She let Derek see her forget conversations. Let him hear her on the phone with friends, sounding scattered and uncertain. She even made an appointment with a therapist, knowing Derek would see it as proof she was acknowledging her problems. But secretly, she was gathering evidence. Hair from her hairbrush that she knew wasn't hers. Coffee mugs Victoria had used, carefully preserved with her fingerprints. clothing items that smelled like Victoria's perfume. She also installed a voice-activated recorder in Derek's office. Caught him on the phone with Victoria, discussing their timeline. "I think we should move soon," Victoria said. "She's getting more unstable. People are noticing." "Are you sure? If we move too fast and she fights it, she won't be able to fight from a psychiatric ward. And her own doctor will recommend the evaluation if we frame it right. I've been researching it. If you express concern about her being a danger to herself or Emma, they have to take it seriously." "Emma's not in danger. Vanessa would never." "It doesn't matter what's true, Derek. It matters what we can make people believe. And right now, everyone already thinks she's losing it. Her friends. Her family. Even Emma is noticing." There was a pause. Then Derek said, "When?" "2 weeks. I'll stage something. Make it look like she had a breakdown. Left Emma alone or forgot to pick her up from school. Something that will force people to act." Vanessa listened to the recording 3 times. 2 weeks. She had 2 weeks before Victoria would frame her for something that would justify a psychiatric evaluation. She called Sandra immediately. "They're moving in 2 weeks. Victoria's going to stage something to make me look dangerous or incompetent." "Then we move first," Sandra said. "But not yet. Let them start their plan. Let them make the first move. Then we'll have them for attempted false imprisonment and conspiracy. It's the difference between proving intent and proving action." "You want me to let them try?" "I want to catch them in the act. With witnesses. With documentation. So there's no way they can talk their way out of it." Vanessa felt sick. But she understood. "Okay. What do I do?" "You set a trap. And you make sure you're not the one who gets caught in it." Sandra brought in a private investigator. A woman named Rita who specialized in surveillance and evidence gathering. Rita installed additional cameras, smaller and better hidden than the ones Vanessa had put in. She also set up GPS tracking on Victoria's car and phone. "We're going to know every time she comes near your house," Rita explained. "Every time she impersonates you. And we'll have it all documented with timestamps and location data." Rita also arranged something else. Something that made Vanessa uncomfortable but was necessary. "We need your daughter's cooperation," Rita said. "I know you want to protect her. But Emma's testimony will be crucial. And she's already noticing the switches between you and Victoria." Vanessa had been avoiding this. Trying to keep Emma out of it. But Rita was right. That evening, Vanessa sat down with Emma in her room. Door closed. Speaking quietly. "Emma, remember when I asked you to keep that diary? About when I seemed different?" Emma nodded. "I've been writing in it. Do you want to see?" She handed Vanessa a small notebook. Vanessa opened it, her heart breaking with each entry. "Monday, March 3rd, Mom picked me up from school but didn't know I had soccer practice. Real mom always remembers soccer ****. Thursday, March 6th, Mom made mac and cheese wrong. She always puts paprika in it. This didn't have paprika ***. Tuesday, March 11th, Mom called me sweetie instead of sweetheart. Real mom always says sweetheart ***. Small things. Tiny differences. But Emma had been noticing. Had been tracking when her mother wasn't quite her mother. "Emma, I need to tell you something. And it's going to be hard to hear. But I need you to be brave, okay?" Emma's eyes went wide. "Okay. Sometimes when you think I'm acting different, it's because it's not me. It's Aunt Victoria. She's been pretending to be me. Coming here when I'm not home. Acting like your mom." Emma stared at her. "Why would she do that?" "Because she wants to take my place. She wants to be me. To have my life. And Dad has been helping her." Tears filled Emma's eyes. "Dad knows?" Vanessa pulled her daughter close. "Yes. I'm so sorry, baby. I know this is scary. But I'm going to stop them. I'm going to make sure you're safe and that they can't hurt us anymore. But I need your help." "What do I do?" "Keep writing in your diary. Keep noticing when things are different. And if anything happens, if Victoria or Dad try to say I did something or forgot something important, I need you to tell the truth about what you saw. Can you do that?" Emma nodded against Vanessa's shoulder. "Will they take you away?" Aunt Victoria said, "She said one time that you might need to go somewhere to get better. That you weren't well." Vanessa's blood boiled. Victoria had been preparing Emma. Planting seeds in her daughter's mind too. "They're going to try. But I'm not going to let them succeed. I promise you, Emma. I'm going to protect us." The next week was tense. Vanessa waited for Victoria's move. Waited for whatever incident Victoria was planning to stage. It happened on a Thursday afternoon. Vanessa was at work. She got a call from Emma's school. The principal, Mr. Harris. Mrs. Crawford, Emma is still here. It's 4:30. You were supposed to pick her up at 3:15. Vanessa's heart stopped. What? No. I arranged for her to go home with her friend Sophie today. I called the school yesterday and left a message. We have no record of that call. And Emma has been waiting for over an hour. She's quite upset. I'm coming right now. Please tell Emma I'm on my way. Vanessa grabbed her things and ran to her car. Checked her phone. No missed calls from the school. No messages from Emma. She arrived at the school 20 minutes later. Found Emma in the office, looking scared and confused. Mom, you forgot me. Baby, I didn't forget. I called yesterday and arranged. Vanessa stopped. Looked at Mr. Harris. Can you check your voicemail records? I left a detailed message about the carpool change. Mr. Harris checked his system. There's no message from you, Mrs. Crawford. Are you certain you called? Yes, I'm certain. I called at 2:15 yesterday afternoon from my office phone. Perhaps you called the wrong number? Or forgot to actually make the call? There it was. The suggestion that Vanessa had confused herself, made a mistake, but Vanessa knew she'd made that call. She remembered it clearly, which meant someone had deleted the message. Or intercepted it. Or, Victoria must have access to the school's system somehow. Or she'd called pretending to be Vanessa and cancelled the carpool arrangement. This was the setup. The incident that would prove Vanessa was incompetent, dangerous. Forgot to pick up her daughter. I'm so sorry for the confusion, Vanessa said, keeping her voice calm. Emma, let's go home. In the car, Emma said quietly, Mom, you really did call. I heard you on the phone yesterday. You told the school I was going to Sophie's house. I know, baby. Someone changed it. Someone wanted it to look like I forgot you. Aunt Victoria? Yes. When they got home, Derek was already there. Waiting. His face was serious. Vanessa, the school called me. You forgot to pick up Emma. I didn't forget. I made arrangements that someone interfered with. The school has no record of your call. Because someone deleted it or blocked it. Derek, this was deliberate. Someone is trying to make me look incompetent. Derek's expression was concerned. Pitying. Honey, maybe you think you made that call but you didn't. You've been so stressed. So scattered. Maybe it's time we seriously consider getting you some help. Real help. I don't need help. I need you to believe me. I want to believe you. But Emma was left at school for over an hour. Scared. Crying. That's serious, Vanessa. Vanessa looked at her daughter. Emma, tell your father. Tell him you heard me make that call. Emma looked between her parents. Vanessa could see the conflict on her face. The fear of getting in the middle. I think I heard Mom on the phone, Emma said uncertainly. But maybe I was wrong? Derek knelt down. It's okay, sweetheart. Mom made a mistake. It happens. Why don't you go upstairs? Mom and I need to talk. After Emma left, Derek turned to Vanessa. This can't continue. You're forgetting important things. Leaving our daughter stranded. What if something had happened to her? Nothing happened because I didn't forget. Derek, someone is sabotaging me. Who? Why would anyone do that? Vanessa wanted to scream the truth. To tell him she knew everything. But Sandra's voice echoed in her head. Wait. Let them make the next move. Catch them in the act. I don't know, Vanessa said instead. But I'm telling you, I made that call. Derek sighed. I think we need to talk to someone. Together. A therapist. Someone who can help us figure out what's going on with you. There's nothing going on with me. Vanessa, please. I'm worried about you. Emma's worried about you. Let me help you. His concern sounded so genuine. So real. If Vanessa didn't know the truth, she'd believe he actually cared. But she'd seen the messages. Heard the recordings. Knew he was planning to have her locked away. Fine, Vanessa said. I'll see someone. If it'll make you feel better. Relief flooded Derek's face. Thank you. I'll make the appointment. That night, Vanessa called Sandra. They staged it. Made it look like I forgot Emma at school. And now Derek's insisting I see a therapist. Good. Good? Yes. Because now we know their timeline. They're accelerating. Which means they'll make more moves, faster. And fast moves mean mistakes. How's the physical evidence collection going? I have everything you asked for. Hair samples that DNA testing will prove belong to Victoria. Coffee cups with her fingerprints. Video of her in my house when I wasn't there. Excellent. I'm scheduling the DNA analysis now. Should have results in a week. In the meantime, go to that therapy appointment Derek sets up. Be honest about your stress but don't mention the impersonation or the conspiracy. Let the therapist conclude you're mentally sound. We'll need that documentation. And then what? Then we wait for them to make the final move. The commitment attempt. And when they do, we'll be ready. Vanessa went to the therapy appointment 3 days later. The therapist, Dr. Ellis, was professional and kind. Vanessa talked about stress. About the pressures of parenting and marriage. About feeling like people didn't believe her sometimes. But she didn't mention Victoria. Didn't mention the impersonation. Didn't mention any of it. After the session, Dr. Ellis told Derek, "Your wife is experiencing normal stress. Nothing pathological. No signs of psychosis, delusion, or cognitive decline. She might benefit from stress management techniques, but she's psychologically healthy." Vanessa saw the flash of disappointment on Derek's face before he covered it. "Are you sure? She's been having memory problems. Forgetting things. Memory issues related to stress are common and not indicative of serious mental illness. If you're concerned, we can do more extensive testing. But from my evaluation today, Mrs. Crawford is mentally sound." Another piece of evidence for Vanessa's side. Another doctor confirming she wasn't crazy. That evening, Vanessa overheard Derek on the phone in his office. "The therapist says she's fine." "I know, but what else can I do? If the professionals keep saying she's healthy, we can't force a commitment. We need something bigger. Something undeniable." Victoria's response was too quiet to hear. But Vanessa knew what they were discussing. They needed to stage something worse. Something that would force a psychiatric evaluation even if doctors thought Vanessa was healthy. Vanessa went to her bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and realized something that made her blood run cold. They were going to hurt Emma. Not physically. But they were going to create a situation where it looked like Emma was in danger because of Vanessa. That was the only thing serious enough. The only thing that would force immediate action. Vanessa grabbed her phone. Called Sandra. "They're going to stage something with Emma. Make it look like I put her in danger." "How do you know?" "I just know. It's the only thing that would work. If they claim I'm a danger to my own child, they can force a psychiatric hold even without other evidence." Sandra was quiet. "Then, you might be right. Which means we need to move faster than I wanted. We need to set our own trap. And we need to do it soon." "What do you have in mind?" "Something they won't see coming. We're going to let them think their plan is working. Let them stage their big incident. But we'll have witnesses. Documentation. Everything we need to prove they're the ones manipulating the situation." "How?" Sandra's voice was hard. Determined. "By making them think you've already broken. That you're ready to accept commitment. And then catching them celebrating before it's official." Vanessa understood. "You want me to fake a breakdown." "Not fake. I want you to appear to accept defeat. To agree to voluntary evaluation. To tell Derek you know you need help. And then we watch what they do next. Because people get sloppy when they think they've won. It was risky. Dangerous. Playing into their hands. But it might be the only way to expose them." "Okay," Vanessa said. "Tell me what to do." The next morning, Vanessa did the hardest thing she'd ever done. She told Derek she was ready to get help. They were in the kitchen. Emma had already left for school. Derek was making coffee, his back to her. "Derek," Vanessa said quietly. "I think you're right. I think I need help." Derek turned around slowly. "What?" "I've been thinking about it all night. The forgotten conversations. The incident with Emma at school. The way I've been feeling, confused. Scattered. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I do need professional help." Derek's face transformed. Relief, hope, and something else. Something that looked like victory. "Honey, I'm so glad you're finally seeing this. I've been so worried." "I know. I'm sorry I've been resistant. I was scared. But I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to forget things or make mistakes that affect Emma." Derek came over and pulled her into a hug. "You're so brave. This is the right decision. I'm so proud of you." Vanessa let him hold her, feeling sick at the lies pouring out of his mouth. "What do we do?" she asked. "How does this work?" "I'll call around. Find a good facility. Somewhere that specializes in memory issues and stress-related disorders. You can do an evaluation, maybe stay for a few days for observation. Just to figure out what's going on." A few days. That's how it would start. A voluntary evaluation. But once she was in, once they had her in their system, it would be easy to extend it. To claim she was a danger to herself or others. To keep her there while Victoria took over her life. Okay, Vanessa said. Whatever you think is best. Derek kissed her forehead. I love you. We're going to get through this together. After Derek left for work, Vanessa called Sandra. It's done. He thinks I've accepted that I need help. He's going to arrange for an evaluation at a facility. Perfect. Now we wait. Derek will contact Victoria. They'll celebrate. They'll discuss the timeline. And we'll catch all of it. What about Emma? If they commit me, even temporarily, what happens to her? That's where we're one step ahead. I've already filed paperwork with family court. Emergency custody arrangements naming your parents as temporary guardians in case of unexpected circumstances. Your parents know what's happening? Yes. I told them everything 2 days ago. Vanessa's parents had been horrified. Her mother had cried. Her father had wanted to confront Derek immediately. But Vanessa had convinced them to wait. To trust the plan. Good. So if Derek tries to move Emma while you're in evaluation, your parents can block it legally. Emma will be protected. That evening, Derek came home with news. I found a place. Meadowbrook Wellness Center. They specialize in cognitive disorders and stress-related mental health issues. They can do a comprehensive evaluation. I can take you tomorrow. Tomorrow. They were moving fast. That soon? I told them it was urgent. That you'd been having episodes. They agreed to fit you in. Derek took her hands. I know this is scary. But it's going to help. You'll see. Vanessa nodded. Played her part. Okay. Tomorrow. That night, Rita the investigator called. Derek and Victoria have been texting constantly. They're meeting tonight. 9 p.m. at the Riverside Park. I'll have surveillance there. We'll record everything. What about the facility? Meadowbrook? I've been researching it. It's legitimate, but it has a history of extended holds on patients. Especially when family members express concerns about safety. Once you're in, Derek can petition to extend your stay beyond voluntary evaluation, claim you're a danger, keep you there indefinitely. Vanessa's stomach churned. So we can't let them actually commit me. No. We can't. Which means we need to stop this before you ever get to that facility. Tomorrow morning, before Derek takes you, we'll make our move. How? Trust me. Everything's ready. Vanessa barely slept that night. She kept thinking about Emma. About how her daughter would feel when this all exploded. About the trauma of learning your father and aunt were conspirators in destroying your mother. At 2 a.m., her phone buzzed with a text from Rita. Got the recording from the park. It's all there. Everything we need. Tomorrow, we end this ***. Vanessa went to Emma's room. Stood in the doorway, watching her daughter sleep. 12 years old. Innocent. Caught in the middle of something she didn't understand. I'm sorry, baby, Vanessa whispered. I'm so sorry you have to go through this. But I promise, after tomorrow, we'll be safe. We'll be free. The next morning, Vanessa got dressed carefully. Comfortable clothes. Like someone going to a medical evaluation. She packed a small bag with toiletries and a change of clothes, as Derek had instructed. Emma was quiet at breakfast. Mom, do you really have to go? Just for a few days, sweetheart. For some tests. To make sure I'm okay. But you are okay. I know you are. Vanessa hugged her daughter tight. I know, baby. Everything's going to be fine. I promise. Derek drove Emma to school first. Vanessa watched her daughter walk into the building, her backpack bouncing with each step. Then Derek turned the car toward Meadowbrook. Ready? Ready. But instead of heading to the highway, Derek's phone rang. He answered through the car's Bluetooth. Mr. Crawford? This is Detective Lisa Martinez with the City Police Department. We need you to come to the station immediately. Your wife as well. Derek's face went pale. What? Why? Is something wrong? We have some questions regarding an ongoing investigation. It's urgent. Investigation? Into what? I'd rather discuss this in person, sir. Can you come now? Derek glanced at Vanessa. She saw the panic in his eyes. We were just heading to an appointment for my wife. A medical evaluation. That will have to wait. This is a criminal matter. We need both of you at the station within the hour. Derek's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Criminal matter? Detective, I don't understand. 1 hour, Mr. Crawford. Or we'll send officers to bring you in. The line went dead. Derek sat there, frozen. Vanessa could practically see his mind racing. Trying to figure out what had gone wrong. How the police had gotten involved. What is this about? Vanessa asked, playing innocent. I don't know. But, We should go. Figure out what's happening. He turned the car toward the police station, his jaw tight with tension. Vanessa texted Sandra under her purse. He's taking me to the station. Is this you? Asterisk asterisk. Yes. Everything's ready. Trust the process. Asterisk asterisk. They arrived at the police station 40 minutes later. Derek parked, his hands shaking slightly. Inside, Detective Martinez was waiting. A woman in her 40s with kind eyes but a firm expression. Beside her was Sandra. And Rita. And another man Vanessa didn't recognize. Mr. Crawford, Mrs. Crawford, thank you for coming. I'm Detective Martinez. This is Attorney Sandra Mitchell, Private Investigator Rita Chan, and Dr. James Park, a forensic psychologist. Derek looked at Sandra. Why is a lawyer here? Vanessa, did you? Mr. Crawford, we're here to discuss allegations of identity theft, fraud, conspiracy to commit false imprisonment, and attempted psychiatric commitment fraud. All the color drained from Derek's face. What? I don't know what you're talking about. I think you do. Please, have a seat. They were led to an interrogation room. A camera in the corner was recording everything. Detective Martinez pulled out a folder. We've been investigating your activities for the past 3 weeks. Your wife came to us with some concerning allegations. Initially, I'll admit, the story sounded far-fetched. Identical twin impersonation. Conspiracy to commit someone for psychiatric evaluation. But Mrs. Crawford had evidence. A lot of it. She began laying out photos. Video stills. Documents. Victoria entering Vanessa's house with a key. Victoria wearing Vanessa's clothes. Victoria picking up Emma from school. Derek and Victoria kissing in Vanessa's kitchen. The text messages between them discussing the transition plan. The forged documents transferring Vanessa's identity to Victoria. The draft psychiatric commitment order. Derek stared at the evidence spread across the table. His mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. We also have DNA evidence, Detective Martinez continued. Hair samples collected from Mrs. Crawford's home. Advanced testing proves they belong to 2 different people. Identical twins, yes. But 2 distinct individuals. Victoria has been in that house repeatedly. In Vanessa's bedroom. Using her belongings. And you've been allowing it, Mr. Crawford. Facilitating it. This isn't, she needed help. Vanessa needed help. She was confused, forgetting things. Because Victoria was impersonating her, Sandra cut in. Creating situations where Vanessa looked confused or incompetent. The school incident? We have phone records proving Vanessa made that call. And we have evidence that Victoria, using Vanessa's name, called back and cancelled the arrangement. Every memory problem Vanessa had can be traced back to Victoria's impersonation. Derek shook his head. No, Vanessa was really struggling. I was trying to help her. Help her by having her committed? By transferring her identity to her twin sister? By planning to replace her in her own life? Detective Martinez's voice was hard. Mr. Crawford, we have recordings. From last night. At Riverside Park. You and Victoria discussing the timeline. Discussing how you'd keep Vanessa at Meadowbrook. How Victoria would move in permanently. How Emma would never know the difference. Derek's face crumbled. I want a lawyer. That's your right. But you should know, Victoria has already been arrested. We picked her up an hour ago. And she's talking. Derek's head snapped up. What? Your girlfriend is giving us everything. The affair. The impersonation. The plan to commit Vanessa. The forged documents. All of it. She's trying to make a deal. Trying to claim you were the mastermind and she just went along with it. That's not true. This was her idea. She came to me with this plan. Detective Martinez smiled slightly. So you admit there was a plan. Derek realized his mistake too late. I want a lawyer. Now. Of course. Detective Martinez stood. Derek Crawford, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, conspiracy to commit false imprisonment, identity theft, and forgery. You have the right to remain silent. Vanessa watched as Derek was read his rights. As handcuffs were placed on his wrists. As the man she'd been married to for 15 years was led away. He looked at her once. Just once. And she saw not remorse, but anger. Anger that she'd outsmarted him. That she'd won. After he was gone, Vanessa's hands started shaking. The adrenaline that had been keeping her upright suddenly drained away. Sandra put a hand on her shoulder. It's over. You did it. Is Emma safe? Emma is safe. Your parents picked her up from school as planned. She's with them now. She doesn't know what happened yet. We wanted you to be there when we tell her. Dr. Park, the forensic psychologist, spoke up. Mrs. Crawford, I've reviewed all the evidence. The gaslighting you endured was systematic and severe. What your husband and sister did constitutes psychological abuse. I've documented everything for the court case. But I also want you to know, there are resources available. Therapy. Support groups. For you and your daughter. Vanessa nodded numbly. What happens now? With Derek and Victoria? Detective Martinez sat back down. They'll both be formally charged. The DA is pursuing this aggressively because of the nature of the crime. Identity theft, especially of this type, sets a dangerous precedent. They'll likely offer plea deals, but given the evidence, I expect they'll both end up convicted. And Emma? Family court will be involved. But given the circumstances, you'll retain full custody. Derek will have his parental rights suspended pending the criminal case. Depending on the outcome, they may be terminated permanently. Vanessa thought about that. Emma growing up without a father because her father had tried to erase her mother. Can I see Emma now? Of course. Vanessa's parents' house was 20 minutes away. Her father opened the door, his face lined with worry. Nessa. Thank God. Is it over? It's over, Dad. They're both arrested. Her mother appeared, tears streaming down her face. My baby. What they tried to do to you. I still can't believe it. Where's Emma? Living room. She knows something's wrong but we haven't told her anything. We wanted you to be the one. Vanessa found her daughter curled up on the couch, her eyes red from crying. Mom. What's happening? Grandma and Grandpa won't tell me anything. Where's Dad? Are you okay? Vanessa sat beside her daughter and pulled her close. Baby, I need to tell you something. It's going to be really hard to hear. But I need you to be brave. Okay, Emma whispered. Your dad and Aunt Victoria, they were planning something bad. They were trying to make people think I was sick, so they could take you away from me and let Aunt Victoria pretend to be me. Emma stared at her. What? All those times I seemed different? That was Aunt Victoria pretending to be me. Coming to our house. Picking you up from school. Acting like your mom. And Dad knew. He was helping her. No. No, Dad wouldn't, he loves us. I know this is hard. But it's true, sweetheart. The police arrested them both today. There's proof. Videos. Messages. Everything. Emma started crying. Hard, gasping sobs that broke Vanessa's heart. Why? Why would they do that? I don't know, baby. Sometimes people do terrible things. Things we can't understand. But what's important is that they can't hurt us anymore. We're safe now. I don't want Aunt Victoria to be my aunt anymore. I don't want her near me ever again. She won't be. I promise. She'll never come near you again. They held each other while Emma cried. Vanessa's mother brought tissues and tea. Her father sat nearby, a protective presence. Eventually, Emma's sobs quieted. She looked up at Vanessa with red, swollen eyes. Mom, are you really okay? In your head, I mean? Or was it all Aunt Victoria making you seem confused? I'm really okay, sweetheart. I never forgot things or got confused. That was all their plan. To make people think I was sick. Your diary helped, Vanessa's mother added gently. The one where you wrote down when your mom seemed different. That helped prove what was really happening. Emma looked surprised. Really? Really? You were smart to notice those differences. You helped save your mom. Emma buried her face in Vanessa's shoulder again. I don't want to see Dad. Not ever. Is that bad? Vanessa's heart ached. No, baby. That's not bad. You feel however you need to feel. We'll figure everything out together. I promise. That night, Vanessa and Emma stayed at her parents' house. Vanessa wasn't ready to go back to the house she'd shared with Derek. Not yet. Maybe not ever. She lay in her childhood bed, Emma curled against her, and finally let herself feel the full weight of what had happened. Her husband of 15 years had conspired to erase her. Her twin sister, the person she'd shared a womb with, had tried to steal her identity. They'd been willing to traumatize Emma. To lock Vanessa away. To destroy everything. And they'd almost succeeded. If Vanessa hadn't found that laptop, hadn't installed those cameras, hadn't had the instinct to document everything, she would be at Meadowbrook right now, locked in a psychiatric facility, while Victoria slept in her bed, raised her daughter, lived her life. Vanessa shuddered. Emma stirred beside her. Mom? You okay? Yeah, baby. Just thinking. About what? About how brave you were. How strong. Even when you were confused about what was happening, you knew something was wrong. You trusted your instincts. I just want things to be normal again. Vanessa kissed her daughter's forehead. They will be different than before. But we'll find our new normal. Together. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, Mom? Can we move? I don't want to live in that house anymore. It doesn't feel like home. We'll move, sweetheart. Wherever you want. Fresh start. Good. Emma snuggled closer. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. So much. And I'm never going to let anyone take you from me. Never again. As Emma drifted off to sleep, Vanessa's phone buzzed. A text from Sandra. Victoria's asking for a plea deal. Wants to testify against Derek in exchange for reduced sentence. DA is considering it. How do you feel about that? ***. Vanessa thought about it. About Victoria's betrayal. About how her own twin had tried to become her. She typed back, let her make her deal. I just want them both to face consequences. Whatever gets us there fastest. ***. Understood. Trial will probably be in 3 to 4 months. In the meantime, focus on healing. You and Emma. You've been through hell. ***. Vanessa set down her phone. Looked at her daughter sleeping peacefully beside her. And felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. They'd survived. Despite everything, they'd survived. And tomorrow, they'd start rebuilding. 3 months later, Vanessa stood in a courtroom, about to testify against her husband and her twin sister. The months since their arrests had been a blur of legal proceedings, therapy sessions, and difficult conversations. Emma was seeing a child psychologist twice a week, processing the betrayal and trauma. Vanessa had her own therapist helping her work through the psychological abuse she'd endured. They'd moved out of the house. Vanessa couldn't bear to live there anymore, in the place where Victoria had pretended to be her, where Derek had conspired against her. She and Emma now lived in a smaller house across town. 2 bedrooms. A fresh start. Derek and Victoria had both been held without bail, deemed flight risks given the severity of the charges. Victoria had taken a plea deal, agreeing to testify against Derek in exchange for a reduced sentence. She was looking at 5 to 8 years instead of 15 to 20. Derek had refused any deal. His lawyer was trying to argue that he'd been manipulated by Victoria, that she was the mastermind and he was just a victim of her schemes. But the evidence told a different story. Now, Vanessa sat in the witness box, Derek's eyes burning into her from the defense table. Victoria sat separately, waiting to give her own testimony. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Elizabeth Chen, approached Vanessa gently. Mrs. Crawford, can you tell the court how you first discovered something was wrong? Vanessa took a breath. She'd practiced this. Prepared for it. But actually saying it out loud, in front of all these people, was harder than she'd expected. My husband mentioned a conversation we'd supposedly had. About a doctor's appointment. But I had no memory of that conversation. At first, I thought I'd just forgotten. But then it kept happening. People telling me about things I'd said or done that I had no memory of. What did you think was causing this? I thought I was losing my mind. That I was developing early-onset Alzheimer's or some kind of dissociative disorder. That's what my husband suggested. What he kept suggesting. When did you realize the truth? Vanessa looked directly at Victoria. Her identical twin. Her mirror image. The person she'd trusted her entire life. I installed cameras in my house. And I saw my sister Victoria entering my home with a key I didn't know she had. Wearing my clothes. Acting as if she lived there. Picking up my daughter from school. Being me. How did that make you feel? Terrified. Violated. Like my entire identity was being stolen. Because it was. Elizabeth pulled up video footage on the courtroom monitors. Victoria entering Vanessa's house. Kissing Derek. Playing with Emma. Acting like she belonged there. Can you identify the people in this video? That's my husband Derek. And my sister Victoria. In my home. On a day when I was at work. And your daughter Emma didn't realize this, wasn't you? No. Victoria and I are identical twins. We look exactly alike. Sound alike. Emma had no reason to suspect the woman picking her up from school wasn't her mother. Elizabeth continued, walking Vanessa through the evidence. The text messages. The forged documents. The plan to have her committed. Mrs. Crawford, did your husband ever express concern about your mental health? Yes. Constantly. He kept suggesting I see a therapist, that I needed help. He told our friends and family I was having memory problems. He was building a narrative that I was mentally unstable. But you were evaluated by multiple professionals. What did they find? They found nothing wrong with me. Dr. Patterson confirmed my cognitive function was normal. Dr. Ellis, the therapist Derek insisted I see, said I was mentally healthy. Dr. Park's forensic evaluation found no evidence of any mental illness. So why was your husband so insistent that you needed psychiatric help? Vanessa looked at Derek. He stared back, his expression unreadable. Because if he could get me committed to a psychiatric facility, he could have Victoria take my place. Officially. Legally. While I was locked away, unable to defend myself or protect my daughter. And your sister Victoria agreed to this plan? More than agreed. The messages show it was partially her idea. She wanted my life, my husband, my daughter, my identity. And Derek wanted her instead of me. Elizabeth presented more evidence. The recordings from Riverside Park where Derek and Victoria discussed their timeline. The forged signatures on legal documents. The GPS data showing Victoria at Vanessa's house dozens of times over 6 months. Then came Emma's testimony. Vanessa's 12-year-old daughter took the stand, looking small and scared. But when the prosecutor asked her questions, Emma's voice was steady. Sometimes Mom seemed different. She didn't know things she should know. Or knew things she shouldn't. She'd make my favorite foods wrong. Call me sweetie instead of sweetheart. Little things. But I noticed. What did you do when you noticed? My real mom asked me to keep a diary. To write down when she seemed different. So I did. Emma pulled out her notebook. I have 37 entries over 6 months where Mom didn't seem like Mom. The prosecutor entered the diary as evidence. 37 instances where Emma had documented her mother acting strangely. 37 times Victoria had successfully impersonated Vanessa. Emma, did you know at the time that it was your Aunt Victoria pretending to be your mom? No. I just thought Mom was stressed or distracted. Dad said Mom was struggling. That we should be patient with her. I didn't know Dad was lying. Emma's voice broke on that last word. Vanessa wanted to run to her, to hold her, but she had to stay seated. Did your father ever tell you your mother might need to go away for treatment? Yes. He said Mom might need to go somewhere to get better. That she wasn't well. But Mom was fine. It was Dad and Aunt Victoria who weren't fine. Derek's lawyer tried to discredit Emma's testimony on cross-examination, suggesting she was too young to understand what she'd seen, that her mother had coached her. But Emma held firm. Nobody coached me. I wrote down what I saw. When Mom seemed wrong. When things didn't make sense. I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what. The defense tried to argue that Derek had been deceived by Victoria. That he genuinely believed Vanessa was having mental health issues and was trying to help. But the text messages destroyed that defense. Messages where Derek and Victoria discussed the plan. Where Derek referred to getting rid of the original so Victoria could fully transition. Where they laughed about Vanessa being too trusting to see what was happening. Victoria took the stand next. Part of her plea deal required her full cooperation and testimony. Miss Crawford, the prosecutor began, you and Vanessa are identical twins. Can you explain to the court how you used that to impersonate her? Victoria looked smaller than Vanessa remembered. Prison had changed her. Or maybe this was who she'd always been, and Vanessa had just never seen it. We look exactly alike. Same height, same build, same face, same voice. Growing up, we'd switch places as a prank, so I knew I could fool people. I knew I could be her. When did this plan begin? About 2 years ago. I was jealous of Vanessa's life. She had everything I wanted. A husband. A daughter. A nice house. Financial stability. And I had nothing. I was alone. Struggling. And I thought, why should she have everything when we're essentially the same person? So you decided to become her? Yes. I started by getting close to Derek, flirting with him when Vanessa wasn't around. And he responded. We started an affair. And one day, I suggested, what if I could just be Vanessa? What if we could replace her? And Derek agreed? Not right away. But I convinced him. I told him I was better than Vanessa. More exciting. More interesting. I could be everything she was, but better. And eventually, he agreed. How did you impersonate her? I got a key to their house. I'd go over when Vanessa was at work. Try on her clothes. Practice being her. Learn her mannerisms. Her habits. How she talked to Emma. How she moved around her own home. I studied her like a role. And then I started actually being her. Picking up Emma from school. Making dinner. Having conversations with Vanessa's friends. Living parts of her life. And Vanessa didn't know? Not at first. But she started noticing things. People mentioning conversations she didn't remember. Objects out of place. So Derek and I started making her think she was losing her mind, gaslighting her, making her doubt her own memory, making everyone around her think she was mentally unstable. Why? Victoria looked at Vanessa for the first time. So we could have her committed. Get her out of the way permanently. With her in a psychiatric facility, I could step in officially. Help poor Derek with his sick wife. Take care of Emma. And eventually, just be Vanessa. Completely. No one would question it because we're identical. Did you consider what this would do to your sister? To your niece? Victoria's eyes hardened. I thought it would be better for everyone. Emma would have me instead of a mother who was unstable. Derek would have me instead of boring Vanessa. And Vanessa would be taken care of in a facility. Everyone would win. Except Vanessa would lose everything. Her identity. Her daughter. Her freedom. Her life. Victoria didn't respond. The defense called Derek to the stand. His lawyer tried to paint him as a victim of Victoria's manipulation. A loving husband who'd been seduced and deceived. But Elizabeth Chen destroyed that narrative on cross-examination. Mr. Crawford, you claim Victoria manipulated you into this scheme. But these are your text messages, correct? Where you refer to Vanessa as the original and Victoria as the upgrade? Derek shifted uncomfortably. You were just what? Accidentally planning to have your wife committed to a psychiatric facility? Accidentally transferring her assets to her twin sister? Accidentally helping someone steal your wife's identity? I thought Vanessa really was sick. I thought I was helping her. By kissing her sister? By changing legal documents without her knowledge? By telling your daughter her mother needed to go away? Elizabeth's voice was sharp. Mr. Crawford, you weren't helping anyone but yourself. You wanted a new wife, a new life, and you were willing to destroy Vanessa to get it. That's not true. Then explain this. Elizabeth pulled up another text message. This is from you to Victoria, dated 3 months before Vanessa discovered the impersonation. You wrote, "Can't wait until we don't have to pretend anymore. Until she's gone and you're officially mine." Does that sound like a man who thinks he's helping his sick wife? Derek had no answer. The forensic evidence was presented next. DNA analysis of hair samples proving 2 different people had been in Vanessa's home. Fingerprint analysis showing Victoria's prints on Vanessa's belongings. Digital forensics showing the forged signatures and altered documents. Expert testimony from Dr. Park, the forensic psychologist, explained the gaslighting tactics used against Vanessa. This was systematic psychological abuse. Mr. Crawford and Miss Victoria Crawford deliberately created situations designed to make Mrs. Vanessa Crawford doubt her own reality. They manipulated her environment. They coordinated stories with friends and family about her supposed instability. They created false evidence of memory problems. This wasn't a concerned husband trying to help his wife. This was deliberate, calculated abuse designed to facilitate identity theft and false imprisonment. The trial lasted 2 weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. The jury deliberated for 5 hours. When they returned, the forewoman stood. On the charge of conspiracy to commit identity theft, we find the defendant Derek Crawford guilty. On the charge of conspiracy to commit false imprisonment, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the charge of forgery, we find the defendant guilty. Guilty on all counts. Derek's face went white. His lawyer immediately began filing appeals paperwork, but Vanessa knew it was over. The evidence was too strong. The jury had seen through his lies. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Victoria, who'd taken the plea deal and cooperated fully, received 8 years. With good behavior, she could be out in 5. Derek, who'd shown no remorse and maintained his innocence despite overwhelming evidence, received 15 years. The judge looked at Derek with clear disgust. You betrayed your wife in the most fundamental way possible. You didn't just have an affair. You conspired to erase her existence. To steal her identity. To traumatize your own daughter in the process. This court takes such violations extremely seriously. 15 years in state prison. No possibility of parole for 8 years. Derek was led away in handcuffs. He looked at Vanessa one last time. And for the first time, she saw something other than anger in his eyes. Regret, maybe. Or just self-pity. She couldn't tell. And she didn't care anymore. After the sentencing, Vanessa and Emma stood outside the courthouse. Emma held her mother's hand tightly. Is it really over? Emma asked. It's really over, sweetheart. What happens now? Vanessa looked at her daughter. At this brave, resilient girl who'd survived something no child should have to face. Now we move forward. We heal. We build a new life. Just us. And Grandma and Grandpa? And Grandma and Grandpa. And your friends. And everyone who loves us and supports us. Our real family. Emma nodded. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad they can't hurt us anymore. Me too, baby. Me too. 2 years later, Vanessa stood in her new house, watching Emma get ready for her first day of high school. They'd moved to a different city. Fresh start. New schools. New friends. A place where no one knew about the trial or the identity theft or the betrayal. Vanessa had gone back to work, not as a corporate lawyer, but as a victim's advocate, helping people who'd experienced identity theft and domestic abuse. Turning her trauma into purpose. Emma was thriving. Still in therapy, still processing what had happened, but stronger than Vanessa had ever imagined possible. They'd decorated the new house together. Chosen every piece of furniture. Every paint color. Every detail. Making it theirs. Not Derek's. Not Victoria's. Theirs. Vanessa had changed her appearance too. Cut her hair short, dyed it a different shade. Started dressing differently. She didn't want to look like Victoria anymore. Didn't want to see her twin's face when she looked in the mirror. She wanted to look like herself. Just herself. Not half of a pair. Not someone who could be replicated or replaced. Just Vanessa. Her phone rang. A number she didn't recognize. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Vanessa. It's me. Victoria. Calling from prison. Vanessa's hand tightened on the phone. How did you get this number? I'm allowed phone calls. I asked Mom for it. Please don't hang up. I just need to say something. Vanessa should hang up. Should block the number. Should never give Victoria another second of her time. But she found herself listening. I'm sorry, Victoria said. Her voice was different. Smaller. Broken. I know that doesn't mean anything. I know sorry doesn't fix what I did. But I need you to know. I was sick. Mentally sick. Consumed by jealousy and resentment and I don't even recognize the person I was. The person who could do that to you. Vanessa was silent. I'd been in therapy. A lot of therapy. And I'm starting to understand how twisted my thinking was. How I convinced myself that your life should be mine. That I deserved to be you. I see now how wrong that was. How evil. Why are you telling me this? Because I destroyed you. I destroyed Emma. I destroyed our family. And I can never make that right. But I wanted you to know. I see it now. I understand what I did. And I'm so sorry. Vanessa felt tears on her cheeks. Not tears of forgiveness. Just tears of grief for the sister she'd lost. For the relationship that could never be repaired. Victoria, I appreciate you calling. But I can't forgive you. Not now. Maybe not ever. What you didn't just betray me. You tried to erase me. To become me. That's not something I can forget. I know. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know. I'm sorry. And I hope you and Emma are okay. I hope you're happy. We're getting there. We're healing. Good. That's good. Victoria's voice cracked. Tell Emma, tell her Aunt Victoria is sorry. And that she was a good kid. Is a good kid. And that none of this was ever her fault. I'll tell her. Goodbye, Vanessa. I won't call again. I promise. The line went dead. Vanessa stood there for a moment, holding the phone, feeling the weight of that conversation. Emma came downstairs, backpack over her shoulder. Who was that? Victoria. Calling from prison. Emma's face hardened. What did she want? To apologize. To say she's sorry. Do you believe her? Vanessa thought about that. I think she regrets what happened, but I don't know if she truly understands what she did. Or if she's just sorry she got caught. Are you going to talk to her again? No. That chapter of my life is closed. She's not my sister anymore. She stopped being my sister the moment she tried to become me. Emma nodded. Good. Because we don't need her. We have each other. That's enough. Vanessa hugged her daughter. That's more than enough. As Emma left for school, Vanessa looked at herself in the hallway mirror. At her short hair. Her new style. Her face that no longer looked exactly like Victoria's. She looked like herself, finally. Completely. For 15 years, she'd been Derek's wife. For 42 years, she'd been Victoria's twin. Always defined by her relationship to someone else. But now? Now she was just Vanessa. Mother. Survivor. Advocate. Fighter. And that was exactly who she wanted to be. Derek would be in prison for at least 8 more years. Victoria for at least 3. By the time they got out, Vanessa and Emma would have built a completely new life. One where Derek and Victoria were just distant, painful memories. Vanessa's phone buzzed. A text from her new boyfriend, Michael. Someone she'd met at a victims advocacy conference. Someone who knew her story and loved her anyway. Good morning. Coffee after Emma's school drop-off, ***. Vanessa smiled. Sounds perfect. She looked around her house. Her home. The life she'd built from the ashes of the one Derek and Victoria had tried to destroy. They'd tried to erase her. To replace her. To make her disappear. But she'd fought back. She'd survived. She'd won. And now she was living the life they'd tried to steal. On her own terms. In her own identity. As her own person. Not someone's wife. Not someone's twin. Not someone's victim. Just Vanessa. Strong. Whole. Free. And that was the greatest victory of all. Thank you for walking this difficult road with me to the very end. If this story resonated with you, you can support our community by sending a super thanks. It helps me continue to bring these important stories to light. On the screen now are 2 more stories that I know will touch your soul. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong.